Hi, I'm Anthony Galie, and I'm putting this video together primarily for my friends and colleagues who are hypnotherapists. I say colleagues. Most people don't know this about me, but I began my professional hypnosis career as a hypnotherapist. Back in the mid-70s, I was in a master's program in experimental psychology, and as the program was winding down, one of my fellow attendees had an existing hypnotherapy practice that he had built in Fort Lauderdale. He was about 10 years older than I was, and he had actually established a hypnotherapy practice down in the town. He was moving off to Tennessee, and he offered to sell me an existing practice and teach me how to maintain and run it. And I took him up on the offer. He knew I had been interested in hypnosis. I had done stage hypnosis in college for a couple of years. I'd been hypnotizing people since I was a kid. Hypnosis was always my great love. So I bought this existing practice, and he taught me how to build it, how to market it. And one of the techniques that he would use was to get himself booked as a speaker for small local groups, women's groups, church groups, condo clubs, of which there are 8 billion in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, churches, Shriners groups, Kiwanis, etc. I would go in as a free speaker, do about a 20-minute presentation, talk about what hypnosis is and how it works, hand out these pieces of paper that have my name and address, and that would build my clientele. That was one of the ways in which the clientele was built. That's how my public speaking career got started. About 2 years into having the private practice, I had a client that had diabetes. And I recall because his doctor had sent me a handwritten note. This gentleman's a friend of mine, really needs to control his weight. This is life-threatening for him. Please help him out. And he responded very, very favorably to the hypnosis. He was a great hypnotic subject. He was doing very, very well with the program. And I recall it was the third or fourth session, I was having a discussion with him about imagery, about the self-image that you have in your mind, how as you change that image, it's going to change the way you look at food, your relationship with it, it's going to change the way you see yourself, and the process that's involved. And when I finished, he asked me a question. He said, have you ever given this information out to a corporate group? I said, what do you mean? He said, well, I own a real estate company right down the road. He said, I got about 100 realtors. We have meetings every month where I'm constantly trying to motivate or inspire these people or give them new information. And I think that what you just explained to me, they'd like to hear it. It'd be really relevant. I said, well, I don't sell real estate. Doesn't matter. Just go tell them what you told me. So when I did, I went in and I made no pretenses. I remember opening up that talk by telling them, I am not a realtor. I've never sold real estate. I don't have a big, extensive background in business. What I do, I'm a hypnotherapist. I have helped hundreds of people to move their behavior from point A to point B. They come into my office, some of them as smokers. They learn how to be non-smokers. They come in as people with weight problems. I show them how to change their imagery, the way they see themselves. They end up ultimately controlling their weight, losing the weight permanently. There's a process that's involved, and there are certain techniques that I use. And I believe that the techniques are similar to what you are probably experiencing out there in the business world if you're trying to train or change your own image. If you want to see yourself as an average producer to a high producer. If you're trying to get a client to see themselves living that kind of neighborhood or that kind of a lifestyle. If you're involved in changing people's mindsets, here are some techniques that I believe would work. And it was enthusiastically received. I remember after I finished the talk, they swarmed me. They just had a bunch of questions, and they'd say things like, whoa, that was really interesting. I never heard it put that way. That was fascinating. I'm going to go out and try that technique today. That was so interesting. They loved it. And I remembered that because about a year later, I moved to Hawaii. I moved to a relatively remote part of the Hawaiian Islands, and the closest town, Hilo, only had about 39,000 people. Not enough people for a private practice. Looking for something to do, and it hit me. One day I went down, picked up the phone, and started calling real estate companies in Honolulu. Let me come in, speak to your group. I want to talk to them about maybe them coming to a program. I'm going to teach them how to use some of the techniques that a hypnotherapist would use. Bottom line was it worked. I was doing these all day long programs for people in real estate and insurance. That's how I began my corporate speaking career. And as I did more and more talks, I became more and more knowledgeable about how salespeople's process works and some of the terminologies that are involved, what was relevant, what wasn't relevant. I put together a corporate presentation and evolved into what is called a corporate keynoter. I spent over 30 years as a corporate keynoter. Now that is a person that comes in as a keynote speaker. I would usually speak from 60 to 90 minutes, do a presentation. My area of expertise was goal setting. I call it the subconscious aspects of business. But what my presentation was known for was, as part of my presentation, I'd actually bring people up out of the audience and hypnotize them. I would talk about different ways you could program the unconscious mind, and then I'd say, let me show you what I'm talking about. So I merged a hypnosis demonstration with a serious corporate talk, which was very unusual. It had, best of my knowledge, there was hardly anybody else doing that, and it was a hit. It was almost an immediate hit. Once I figured the business aspect out, how to market it, it just took off. And I had a long, wonderful, successful career doing that. What I loved most about it, what really intrigued me most about the corporate speaking was, as a hypnotherapist, I was at best seeing a couple dozen people a week. As a corporate speaker, I would often speak to thousands. I started getting communications and emails over the years. I still get emails from people that say, I heard your presentation 10 years ago. It changed my life, or it really helped me in this area, or I got that award that year because of the technique you showed me how to use. That was what was rewarding for me, the number of people that I was reaching. But there are more than just the mental or emotional rewards. Turns out corporate speaking is ridiculously lucrative. I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but the entry-level speakers in corporate speaking get $5,000 per speech, and you move up from there. I eventually graduated to the 10 to 12.5 range per speech. A few years ago, I was diagnosed with a medical problem that kind of ended my speaking career. It took me off the stage. And I spent a couple years doing things, looking around, and then one day thought about it and said, I could put together a program to teach people how to do what I did. And so a while back, I put together a program called the Corporate Hypnotist Masterclass. James Mapes and I, he's a good friend, came together, kicked around ideas. Why aren't people out there doing this? Well, because they just don't know how. So I put together a program, and I've had a number of the sessions, and the program is really interesting. It's 2 days long, and day number 1 is all about how you put your speech together. Show you exactly how to put together a corporate speech, the elements that should be present, show you how to slide into a hypnosis demonstration. I teach everybody the induction that I do, which is really kind of unique. I've got it down to now about 11 minutes. You can get people out of the audience and deeply hypnotized. I show them step by step precisely how to do my unique induction. Then I show them how to use the hypnosis demonstration as a teaching tool to go back and reinforce your original message. So day number 1 is all about how to put your speech together. Day number 2 is all about how to market it. Okay, now you got your product. How do you sell it? And that was the part that took me years to figure out, because I wasn't a genius business person, and there really were no books out there to show you how to do it. But day number 2 is, all right, now you've got your program, here's how you penetrate markets. Here's how you get through to the decision maker. Here's how you handle the admin. Here's how you figure out who's hiring the speakers and where they are, step by step. In fact, I provide scripts and all, show you exactly how to now sell your product, to get into the corporate speaking market, which is wide open. There's hardly anybody out there doing it using hypnosis. So that was the presentation I put together. And it's been successful. But I noticed something. I noticed that the majority of people that came to my program were stage hypnotists, which certainly doesn't surprise me. It was a natural fit. Of course, a stage hypnotist is used to working in front of audiences, has a stage presence. It was a natural, segue from stage hypnosis into the corporate speaking. I had a couple of people that came that were hypnotherapists, but not that many. And my question was, where's the hypnotherapist? Because I know it works. That's where I came from. If you recall, my first corporate talks, I just said, I don't know anything about what you guys are doing, but here's what I'm doing, and here's how I think it relates to what you're doing. So that was the entry. You folks already know a lot about the process that's involved in overcoming mental barriers and increasing performance. It would be such a simple little tweak. I didn't understand why the hypnotherapists weren't becoming more involved in it for a number of reasons. First of all, I have no idea what the size of your practice is, but I would assume getting more clients and making your practice bigger would be a positive. Well, if you come to the program, I spend 1 full day showing you exactly how to put together a public presentation, a corporate presentation, where you can do a hypnosis demonstration, use the induction that I've developed, and really get out there and start spreading your message in terms of speaking to more people. In other words, I'll show you some of the techniques that the gentleman showed me on how to get yourself booked to some of these groups. And if you just went out and talked to different groups in your town or in your city, you would end up with more clients. It would build your practice. If you do nothing else with this course, it would build your practice, because I'll show you how to use hypnosis as this tool to go out there and give those kind of presentations. But the other side of it, the corporate speaking, if you kept your existing practice and built that and then did the corporate speaking simultaneously, the numbers are almost staggering. If you came in as an entry-level speaker and you spent some time promoting yourself, putting together a video, getting your name out there, and you got it to the point where you are on the average doing one speech a month, just one speech a month, that's 60 grand a year in additional income. It's ridiculously lucrative. And I think if you devote yourself to it full time, you can do many, many times more than one a month. But if that's all you did, was a few speeches a year at the corporate level, and then use the skills and techniques that I'm going to show you how to put your speech together, it'll build your practice. For me, it's a win-win. I don't understand why there weren't more hypnotherapists attending, which is why I'm making this video. I'd like to ask you to consider the course. So you've probably seen some banners come across the bottom. There'll be a number of ways in which you can find out information about this course. First of all, if you don't know who I am or don't know what I do, go to YouTube and put my name in there, Anthony Galie. I've posted over 150 videos, big groups, small groups, all kinds of information, all kinds of different ways in which I did the presentation and the speech. It'll certainly give you an idea of what I'm talking about if you don't know who I am. That's first. Second is go to the Corporate Hypnotist Masterclass website. It's www.corporatehypnotistmasterclass.com. And I'll have it down at the bottom of the video, and there'll be a banner you can click for a link. If you go to the website, it'll tell you the time, date, and location of any upcoming programs. I do them periodically, 1 or 2 a year. They come by. If you're interested, it'll show you how to sign up and what the program is all about. I'm going to put one more link up there, and that is going to be for what's called the Backstage Pass. If you want me to stay in touch with you, if you sign up for this Backstage Pass, I periodically send out notices as to any upcoming programs. I put videos together, which I've posted. You may have seen them on Facebook or on YouTube. I'll send you links to videos, information. Sometimes I find interesting articles. I'll keep in touch with you. So if you sign up for the Backstage Pass, it'll give me a way of communicating with you. If you are interested in the program, go to the www.corporatehypnotistmasterclass.com. And if you don't know who I am, Google my name. But I'm going to put one more thing down at the bottom of this video, and that's my 800 number. If you have any questions, pick up a phone and call me. There's an 800 number. I'm accessible. I'll answer any questions you have. Any questions you have. Talk to you pretty much as long as you like. I believe it's exciting. It's a fascinating business. I got sent all over the world as a corporate speaker. I got sent to Rome, London, Paris. I've been to Cairo twice, 6 times to Istanbul, Brazil, Monte Carlo. It's a lot of fun, not to mention the fact that you can make a lot of money at it. I'm not saying all of you are going to rise to the top of this profession, but if you don't rise to the top and just get it to one $5,000 talk a month, I think it's obviously worth your time and effort to take a look at this as an option if you're a hypnotherapist. I'm surprised more have not taken advantage of it. But I'll do everything I can to make it available to you. So call me if you have a question with the 800 number, visit the website, come to the program if you are so inclined. I promise it'll be a life-altering experience because it really is different. There's just nothing out there like it because no one had ever done it the way I had done it before. I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Hope to hear from you. I'll see you sometime soon at the program.